If anyone has questions. Makes sense of a share. And we're out, Chuck. This is where the board sits, but their tree lives in.
That was what my plan was.
Okay, yeah. You doing?
Very good or terrible?
No, that's all right.
So after week one, he's been there a week today.
All right.
Then my landlord.
That's about all that.
Yeah.
And so then-
No, which is all right. It doesn't school out like it does.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm sure it would help if I put a, 500 pounds in the box.
Okay.
That one.
No, it's no complaints. It's a hinter.
Didn't expect it wouldn't be.
Yeah, it is.
No, of course not.
That is, I
That's a tough time in our lives, isn't it?
do a lot of.
Well, it's challenging.
Brother, my son, his
It's kind of the same.
wife's grandmother,
At least as far as.
through this a couple of years ago. And so it's-
Or if
that thing.
her husband was gone and she couldn't take care of us. Different things. And once there, she got really comfortable.
I prefer not to flow in 2000.
Until he doesn't know that.
Yeah. I
I
think
mean, he's
that's,
not too bad.
yeah, I think that's what came to her.
Yeah.
It became,
Considerable amount.
it is fun.
Yeah.
So I just take a fall right on the surface. So it's not, once it's frozen.
Or was it the first
Yeah.
stream day?
Well,
Right.
it left me a big log off for whatever, so I had to approach it from a different angle. And
Just get up.
it's stuff.
6 slides. in his room. He used to call, and with his,
Of course, I
he
slid.
used to call.
Wall and stopped up beside it, like, this is why I don't want.
Yeah, you can. That's a hard one.
And I said, you know. Right.
Yeah, and that's, they can do, and they should.
They can't do that.
The money was so.
Put sides up on beds and alarms on me.
On the minutes, I didn't know that.
I didn't even tell them. No, I asked. Got there and I said, oh, yeah. So what they did, well, hello there.
Or you were not.
I'm six on my one building. I've got a bunch of ice and fires.
Chris.
Well, we've been into one.
That was when I was.
Great is that.
Wanted to bring more than, no, just kidding.
We'll have a good meeting. I will be.
We're hopeful.
It looks like people are dressed. It's good.
Yeah, we usually get good interest in this one.
It's so.
Well, only the last couple of years, otherwise it was 3 or 4 people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, which is empty. Keeps it busy.
All
Like, no.
Well, yeah, oh, yeah, I was, for sure. I mean.
It's all right.
And that's-
Doesn't give. But
Yeah.
It's just, I said something.
Oh, he was. Yeah, yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I might.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have thought yet until I saw something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did.
Because of that.
But you can say, you didn't like my suggestion, you didn't even comment.
Did I forget to text?
My very funny
I
comment.
would have said I'd rather.
I was, and I forgot, I was gonna text you to just text me back and. But
You're never going with the next one.
Yeah. Well,
What you are.
are we recording?
Don't usually.
Okay.
She never.
Yeah.
My knowledge.
Only 53 hours, so.
Yeah.
You have to have the mics on.
yeah. No, I didn't want to say I was scared of my democracy. This sucks all bad.
I do not plan to participate.
Oh, man, I don't even know if she'll answer the phone last time. Oh, so that's where I'm like, I'll get there. Exactly. So that's where I'm like,
I'm not even wearing my glasses.
okay, well, I'm gonna go see it.
My eyes are better, by the way.
Oh, my God. You made some pretty expensive items.
Yes, I do.
Tiffany, what can I help you with?
Which, when I was looking at that down.
Supporting me,
Is Lee here?
general support, Leah, no,
What? What's wrong?
she's been on vacation.
Yeah, we.
Her flight just got back today or.
Yep, so.
She was out by.
Yeah, I don't know. So she'll be here.
So who's running? I'm not recording this, right?
I am recording.
You can't hear it.
No,
It's,
You
hey, Tony,
Ask me what?
do we?
but it does for live.
have to do minutes for this piece. Well, that makes sense.
That's why I'm saying go back up the kid, because this is so close. Oh, yeah. Excited, we sit up there, like, because we want to look good.
Yeah, it was, that they have their. It's been so exciting. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it keeps.
Hey.
It's always.
I got the.
Concord.
No,
Oh, she's a big wig now. She doesn't leave this up to this
I
time.
know, not for anybody.
Tell us to.
Like Lucy's got softball tonight, so she's.
At some point, she's probably gonna tell me I have to stop calling her. For now.
Is that what
Moni. You staying there for the meeting?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I know that my.
Might be all alone.
See you later.
I don't have, I want to be a good resource for answering questions.
we go to?
Gave a second soul to spell.
Yeah, not today.
So that's right. I don't need it.
Actually, take that back. We had.
So you're
Just
sitting,
so you're not surprised.
so you're sitting.
So who's gonna start the meeting then?
I started it and then we nominated a moderator.
Yeah, okay. We've been all the.
You know, well, this.
I was telling you to come up here.
Oh, yeah.
Only a patient.
You're all by myself. Be back tomorrow. Yeah.
Good bird there.
Tomorrow's not good because I am not planning on being here either. Thursday. Morning.
Well, I told her.
Okay.
your guys' perspective on that before I just asked.
Sure.
Mentioned. What is busy getting like a student tenure. So I just want to see what questions.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hi, how are you? Oh. Yeah.
Thank you. But I haven't talked to you in so long. Moving.
So it's kind of fun, you know, shouldn't be that. Yeah, they're fun, but we're gonna, we don't even do it on the shelf.
We're gonna have something.
So there are a lot of things that makes it. US news.
Wait, and I ask you guys.
So back in the 80s.
Well, remember when.
Oh, yeah, we're going.
It's like we come from London.
Mr. Nidus. Right. That's okay. So did he better?
Exactly. It's an experience. Yeah. It's always fun. Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah, it's wild. Oh, it's cool experience going to some of these places. It's like, it's not no way.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Oh, my.
That's.
Yes, thank you for your attitude.
I know.
Mattered.
It's so bad.
Thank you for saying that. I was waiting for you.
All right, it's 6:30. We'll call this meeting to order. If everyone will please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I will accept nominations for a moderator.
Nominate Christina Anton.
We have a nomination for Christine Anton. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second? Right. Any other nominations? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Everybody, can you hear me?
Oh, you might have to turn that on.
Hear me now?
No.
How about now?
Hello.
It works.
Oh, I have to be like right up in there. Can you hear me now? Oh, boy, we're up and personal here. I have a mom voice. It's very loud. I might have to use it. Okay, we're gonna use mom voice. Can you hear me now? All right. Thank you for nominating me this evening. It is a privilege to serve as your moderator this evening. Try to take some sheet notes. The only part I can't remember is if I have to call the meeting to order as well.
Nope, I already did.
Okay, perfect. All right. So first things first, I am seeking approval for the meeting minutes from the 2025 annual meeting and reconvened annual meeting. So I have a motion to approve the 2025 annual meeting and reconvened annual minutes.
This is Holly Campbell. I'll approve, or I'm moving to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
John Bergman.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Next item that we have is review and approval of the annual statement. So we'll go ahead and we'll go through that. If you did not grab this lovely stapled packet, there are extra copies over on the left. Also, as I point to that table, I just remembered if you did not sign in, please take a moment to do so. The first fund that we'll review is the general revenue fund. Go ahead and take a moment and review that and let me know if you have any questions. Can you state your name?
Deb Larson, I just have a question about the legal fees. Looks like they're about 14,000 over budget. If there's some explanation for that. Then I kind of a follow-up question to that is how is over budget items approved? What's that process? Not sure that's for you, if it's for the board.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know what the process. Is there a specific process for that?
So first things first, to set the record clear, this is a citizens meeting. And so while our board members are present, they are acting as citizens in tonight's meeting. And I will welcome any board members that are present and serving as a citizen tonight to answer the question on Tiffany's behalf. It is uncertain.
My concern is this is the third year in a row that I know that they've been over budget on the legal fee. So that's why I'm asking this question. So if they don't answer now, how are the citizens supposed to get a feel for what's going on?
Is it possible that this question could be answered in a letter format and then posted to the township website under the minutes section or some type of a public notice. I know on the website right now, you had like a notice option for tonight's meeting. It was on the homepage. Is that something that would be possible to provide clarification?
We can definitely look into that and get you some sort of an answer, yeah.
Okay.
To piggyback off of Deb's point, I have a note for myself. And my question is at the previous annual meeting as well as the adjourned meeting, it was placed as an advisement that the township conduct a request for proposal seeking legal services. And I was wondering where the township is currently sitting with that request and where we are sitting with obtaining a fixed fee contract as well as performance expectations for legal services due to the same concern that Deb outlined with continual budget overages.
We did, the town did put out an RFP for legal services. I don't remember what we set the due date as, but it's still open. And so we are collecting bid proposals for legal services that will be reviewed in the near future. And the goal is to have something in place around June 1st.
Thank you. Does that answer the majority of your questions?
How big of a net did you cast for the RFP? Where was that? Where was it posted at?
It was posted to the Pine Knot News and it was posted to the website. And then I did try to go find some area attorneys that serve townships and cities and stuff, and I tried to send out some proposals just to make sure it got seen.
Okay. Deb, from a personal standpoint, I'm actually a public procurement professional, and what she just outlined is standard best practices for a RFP process when you're seeking outside parties. So from a professional standpoint, that would be the same process that I would follow, if that provides any comfort to you.
Yeah.
Any additional questions under the general revenue? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, can anyone speak to the fairly sizable delta between 25 actual and budget for audit expense and financial reporting?
Can you state your name for the record?
Mark Nyholm. Seems like in 24, we were at 61,812. We budgeted 50,500. We blew that to 80,000. And then in 26, we budgeted back to 36. Is this something don't have much control over? Or
Well, yeah, what happened in 25 is because of the turnover in the clerk treasurer position. We did outsource some professional services as far as like financial services to fill in the gap when there was no clerk treasurer here. And going forward, we are not anticipating that. So going forward, we're just anticipating the cost of the actual audit. So that's why it's scaled back for 26 and why it was over for 25.
thank you.
Okay, go ahead and stand up and state your name for the record.
Catherine Levina, difference between the computer equipment software from actuals to what we actually budgeted in the comparison of 24. Where's that spread for?
Computer equipment, so you're asking why it's budgeted higher?
Yes.
I I think the idea was just to meet the rising need that we had, some network switches and stuff like that that were outdated. We just needed to get up to date, to keep this, everything secure and, up to date, and we were falling behind.
Can I piggyback off that question as well? So last year, and granted, it was a different clerk that was serving at the time of the annual meeting, but she had outlined that the township's current accounting software was outdated, and she had indicated a need to replace that accounting software. And so I'm wondering, has the township began seeking and obtaining the accounting software that was promised and initially budgeted for, and how those funds were earmarked to ensure that the money goes specific to the accounting software?
Yeah, there's actually an item for that in the capital expenses. And I did increase it a bit because the software needs for a community this size are gonna be higher than what was originally earmarked. And as far as looking into it, I haven't looked into it yet. I've been trying to get just up to date to get everything ready for this meeting. And once this is passed, I am going to start kind of looking into our options and getting prices and stuff like that.
Yep, so do we use the MSP provider to manage all of our network equipment, multi-service provider, or do we manage it in-house?
We do outsource that, yep.
That was in this one.
Yep, that's part of it, yep.
Any additional questions? Any further questions regarding the general revenue fund?
I have one question, Ron Larson. Our tax levy numbers have increased like 150,000 underneath the general fund budget. Is that based on last year's tax levy increase, or is that based on this year's proposed levy increase?
In the 2026 budget is what you're looking at?
In the 2026 budget, we're proposing 491,000 change versus 25 budget, which was 338,000. That's the tax levy. Is this new number based on last year's raise, or is this number based on what?
That's based on last year's, yep.
Good questions. Any further questions on the general revenue fund? Go ahead.
Douglas, I just wanted to piggyback on her question. Do we ever go out for an RFP for any of these, for the computer services, those monthly fees? For service and maintenance?
I'm not sure if that has been done. I know that it was recently, I think last year changed companies, and I'm not sure the process that was involved because it was before I was here.
It's a very competitive market. That's why I'm questioning trying to reduce our expenses and still get quality service.
Right.
If I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, the township also uses cooperative purchasing contracts as well to help with cost savings. Is that true?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So, just to kind of explain that for those of you that don't work in public procurement, there is a mechanism out there called cooperative purchasing agreements. They're offered by a multitude of places, one of which is the state of Minnesota, and there's some other entities as well. But where that can also provide a cost savings to communities such as ours is other individuals have already done the request for proposal, the evaluation, the contract negotiations, and they've already established a contract. So I affectionately call it the Disneyland Fast Pass of purchasing. Instead of you having to wait in line for 3 hours, you get to skip ahead and go to the ride. They get to do that with a contract if they're signed up. So you guys get to benefit from those cost savings, and you're not paying for the expense of the employees doing that whole process, which could be anywhere from 3 to 12 months on a smaller size procurement.
Is that like a GPO?
Can you spell the acronym out for me?
Group purchasing?
Yes. Yes.
I'm just I want to ensure that we're getting value for the dollars that we spend.
And I'm in your camp.
So that's why I'm asking the question, because even though you have the fast pass, that sometimes is not a value.
Yes.
So that's why I'm questioning that whole thing, because I think we're being taxed to death. And so I just want to make sure that we're getting value for our taxes.
Sure. Speaking to cooperative purchasing, also, I can tell you that the benefit with some of these cooperative purchasing contracts is it might have a fee listed there, but you can continue to negotiate those costs from there too. So the contracts that I write for the state of Minnesota that are considered cooperative purchasing contracts, you can always get a better rate than what's offered on the contract, but they can never charge you more. So there, I want you to know there is some negotiation power there too, that I know I've spoken with Leah Pikinen, who also works on the township as well, and some other staff. So no, that option is available. Any other questions on the general fund? Okay. Next, town hall fund.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Rosita. So we have insurance in the general fund and then we have insurance in the town hall fund. What's this insurance in the town hall fund for?
It's all part of the same insurance plan. It's just, it gets allocated to the different funds. So it's, the town hall includes like the community room and stuff like that. So we have the insurance on the town hall building.
So that's more property insurance versus employee insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions on the town hall fund? Okay. There's no further questions. We'll move along to the road and bridge fund.
We missed on the gasoline and diesel by so much. I see it was 19,000, the actual, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sean Sonneborg, it was 19,000 actual in 25. And we're budgeting 42.5 for the, and some more severe winters. Okay.
Turn to a lot more fuel.
Makes sense.
Thank you, Logan. Bud?
Did we have some unforeseen storm damage that bumped our blacktop repair and crack sealing to 152 when we budgeted for 40?
I'm not sure. Josh, do you know that one?
Sorry, could you repeat that question, please?
You look at line item, blacktop repair, crack sealing, professional services, we budgeted 40. Blew past that to 150, almost 153,000. Is that because of unforeseen storm damage that caused that? Or did we choose to accomplish something because we had a surplus in budget?
Yes, because, yeah,
We had allocated money from the road improvement fund and got more aggressive with road maintenance. So we did some more mastic to take care of some of the transverse depressed cracks versus just crack filling. And we did more miles of road.
So are you saying that it appears as though there's a substantial budget overage because money was pulled from a different funding source?
Correct.
Okay, so are you saying that $40,000 for the blacktop repair, crack sealing, professional services was applied towards this 152,000, but the remaining funds was coming from another pot?
Should have come from the other improvement. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tony?
No, I believe that's what we did,
Okay.
because we didn't do any paving.
Right, so we didn't have any actual road improvement scheduled, so we took that money and we put it towards maintaining the roads that we currently have. Roads that were not completely beyond disrepair,
Okay.
we try to salvage them and lengthen their life expectancy.
So if that is true, and I'm not always good with words, so please don't take this the wrong way if I say it wrong. If what you're saying is true, are you saying that when this statement was prepared, there was inadvertently like a transfer of funds not shared in comparison to the statement that was shared with us at the annual meeting last year? Because last year, if I recall, Beth had several spaces where it showed that she was moving funds from one pot to the other.
Yeah, so those repairs didn't take place until October?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was later in the year and it may have just not gotten shuffled around.
And can I add to that too? There hasn't been any crack sealing done in the last 2 or 3 years. You actually got behind on it, and Logan and I agreed. So we kind of had to go a little aggressive on it to catch back up.
Does that answer your questions before we move on?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what that means for this year's budget.
Do you have an answer to that before we move on to Deb?
Tell you the truth, I haven't looked at it yet. So.
Okay, is it possible that this clarification could also be added to the previous question that Tiffany is going to look into and we can post an answer on the website?
Good.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions, Mark?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Deb?
So this goes back to my question at last year's meeting where I asked, where's the 5-year maintenance plan? And how are we gonna budget and fund for that? And so now here we are, a year later, we have this discrepancy on where the money came from and where the money went. So I just would like to get an understanding of who owns the 5-year maintenance plan for this township and how do they plan to budget it? Because there's no reason these guys should have to like beg and borrow to get money to do their maintenance if we plan.
Do you have an answer to that, or can we provide a clarification?
I don't believe that is your job. I believe that is the board's job to do that, to tell you what the 5-year plan is and how to budget for it.
And there is on the table, there's a printout of the capital improvement plan that kind of goes out a few years, and I haven't had a chance to look really into that. It's mostly a reprint from last year, what was provided last year, but that might have some of your answers.
We do have the town engineer is working on putting, is it a 5-year or is it a 10-year road plan? I think
it's a combination of both.
Okay, so we are in the process of putting that together. Unfortunately, the numbers that you see here are so small that this plan will not be funded with these numbers. So when we do get this plan together, it's gonna be some big increases in tax levies if we're gonna follow it, unfortunately.
When you say big increases, can you speak to a range that's being discussed at this time?
Not really. I mean, it's hard to say. The roads, everybody knows the roads are in tough shape. So
Sure.
There's a lot of work, especially in town, a lot of work on these old blacktop roads that have to be done. And at $1 million a mile, that adds up fast.
Sure. To that point, I have an additional note that it was placed on an advisory motion for the township to reach out to Carlton County to see if there was a possibility of getting some of the taxable fees that they receive from property taxpayers reallocated back towards the township for such capital improvement plans. And I'm curious to know if there's any updates to that request from last year's meeting.
I think the request was to ask the county to give more of the tax money to us.
right?
Yes, and I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like, where that
Um,
was sitting.
well, I guess
Couldn't
first
that
of
be
all,
applied?
First of all, you have to clarify that that's not how it works.
Sure.
Like the tax thing is not pie that's set on the table and everybody just gets a piece of it. If we
Sure.
want more tax money, we have to levy for more tax money. That's just how it works. The county doesn't just give us more because we ask them. I mean, yeah, I think Ruth said that we basically got laughed at when we asked county commissioner about it, but that's just not how it works. You don't just ask the county for more money. What you do is you have a meeting like this with everybody here and we decide we want more money and then we levy for more money. That's how you get more money.
Any other questions from you, Deb? At the moment? No? Okay. Your name, please?
And I am,
Can we get your name for the record
gravel,
first?
Sand and ice control.
Yep. Can we get your name for the record before your question?
My name is Tom Bogus.
Thank you.
I live at 145 Gleason Road. And I'm wondering if in the, under the heading of gravel, sand and ice control, if you folks would take a real hard look at putting some class 5 gravel on Gleason Road. I think it's been requested in the past. I'm just bringing it up again. Oh, there.
You or Josh have a.
I mean, I think there's cow paths in this town that are in better shape than Gleason.
Yes, the last few years, we have been putting class 5 on Gleason Road, along with others.
Wayne K with Gleason Road.
Yeah.
We finally got a crown to the road. It's been working. Water drains off. We used to be able to paddle canoe down in the low area.
I believe that was 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
We put a lot of that,
Yeah.
put that up.
And my biggest question right now is the class 5. Rock. Gotta spend some money better on better class 5, but the crown is pretty good. There's a couple spots could use a little more, being honest with you. And at the end of the road, you know, we have a young man that on our road, we can't slow him down. That's why we're doing the pedal to the metal, you know. People just slow down and take it easy, make your job easier. I know at one time you're gonna dig it up, do something there. I've seen it way worse.
That's in our plan. We're gonna finish that before they redo our Croquet Road, so
Yeah.
it's in the works.
There's a couple of ways. I mean, you know, I get it. So, yeah,
Thank you for that.
yeah.
Thank you. Any additional questions on the road and bridge fund?
Catherine Ledina, just wondering, so we have more internet and laptop in this fund too, is that for a different part of for the township, or just wondering why we have it in 2 funds?
Yeah, that's what the road crew uses for their services and their devices. They've got their iPads and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, sir. If you could state your name for the record.
Nathan Kern. Just looking at the culverts, looks like we spent 47,000 this year on culverts when we budgeted 25, and we were talking that we weren't doing major road. More crack sealing, so where'd the extra $25,000 in culverts come from?
So we generally do large orders every other year. So with everything going up in price, we got aggressive with purchasing this year in hopes that we can ride out for 2 years. And buy now and lock in, you know, they're stocked, ready to go. They have, you know, no life expectancy. So better to spend the money now and have them on hand than, you know, we also have to pay transportation fees to get them shipped up here. Because all the suppliers for that are south of here. So we got more aggressive this year in hopes that it'll be 2 years before we have to put in another large order.
Another, Josh, maybe you can account for part of that high number. We had one big culvert that we weren't planning on.
There was, not this last summer, but the summer before, we had a bunch of large culverts that were $10,000 to $11,000 a piece. And we changed like 4 of them that summer because the road started to go out. And like everything else, steel prices keep going up, but we had some big culverts that we had to change in there. Like I said, over 10 grand a piece. We have some down the road that are gonna need to be changed, 2 bigger ones. Culvert prices have tripled, almost quadrupled in the last 10 years.
Any additional questions or were your
Not
questions?
really, I guess it doesn't look like it's gonna adjust the 25 through 26 budget at all. It's gonna stay the same. And if, I guess, we all know prices of everything are going sky high. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe that's part of their action plan with their 5-year action plan is actually looking at culverts that are failing, getting ahead of the ball.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, comments on the road and bridge fund? Just a point of clarification, Logan, before we move on, if I heard you correctly with the culvert explanation that we could potentially anticipate less coming out of that budget this year because you purchased ahead?
Yes, so theory, unless we have to buy some obscure size that we don't have well stocked, we'll carry 26 of the budget at 27, put an order in 27, so we can kind of balance it off. So that fund will just get carried over. That's the plan.
Thank you.
So we generally have always tried historically to buy culverts on a 2-year and just stockpile them. And so that was kind of the plan in 25. As we ordered them, the bus inventories were already running low. So it's nice to have them on hand going into spring, because with the spring thaw, that's where we tend to find a lot of the ones that are failing.
Great. Not seeing any further questions. We'll go ahead and move along to the road and bridge gas tax fund. Any questions or concerns on the road and bridge gas tax fund? It looks like that's what actually went down. And Logan, if I recall, you said earlier it was due to less fuel, due to less snow removal.
Well, in 24 and 25, we used far less fuel. Just, because, again, every snowfall, generally have 4 pieces of equipment out, they use a full tank of fuel. Doing their exercises, and then you throw ice storms or anything else in and you're ice cutting, you burn a lot of fuel, probably far more than in the summer. So that's usually where a lot of the guys use their fuel is going to be in the winter time. So lighter winters, they're not out there burning the fuel, so we'll see those savings.
Josh?
Just to add to that, I did some fuel comparisons the other day. And it was about $800 difference between January this year and February. February, we were all plowing one.
Interesting statistic. Any other questions or comments for the road and bridge gas tax?
So do you not buy in advance, contract in advance for fuel for a whole year based on previous years?
No, we try to watch our fuel, what we have in our tanks on hand, and then we watch the fuel prices too. When the fuel prices dive, we'll fill up the tank as much as we can. And we'll try to fill up all the equipment and stuff when the fuel dives.
When you say the tank, do you mean your bulk
We have a bulk
tank?
tank. We got a 2,000 gallon bulk tank for diesel fuel. And it's a 1,000 gallon gas tank. So fuel prices are high right now. Luckily, fortunately, we have a high, we have quite a bit in our diesel tank, so we're not gonna be buying fuel.
Any other questions on the road and bridge gas tax fund?
I just wonder if there's savings to be had by doing our Disney Pass by buying in bulk through the state, or, I mean, they buy millions of gallons of diesel and gasoline. I'm just throwing that out there, being in construction myself, I know we know what we're used for the year, and then we know what our fixed costs are. It goes up, it goes down, you're just happy with what you have.
I would suggest you hold that thought into the end of the meeting, and then I would encourage you to maybe make an advisory motion on that. So then we can have our board consider that. I don't think that's a bad idea. Any other comments, questions on the road and bridge gas tax fund? Okay. Next, we have the police fund and drug forfeitures. Questions, comments on that?
Are we underpaying our service providers, given the fact that we budgeted for some and we came in about half the dollar value?
That just, it got paid late. I just didn't see that it was due, so it got paid in this calendar year. So it didn't show up on the financials, but they only got paid half. Sorry about that, guys.
Thanks for still showing up.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
I am curious, to you guys, the forfeiture, what that all entails.
Yeah, and it's a good point, because we talked about it, I think, the last couple of years. To Tiffany's defense, so I think we traded a couple of emails early in your start here at the township. It's really complex to get that. I don't have the sheet in front of me. Is that like $600 or $300 that forfeiture?
It's $424.90, if I'm looking at it right.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So to make a really long story short, there's some things that we have, some history that we have to dig into to figure out, who's the bad guy that we seized the money from, what was the outcome of the case, some of those logistical, historical pieces that we need to figure out. And we've had a change or turnover in the township staff. So as Tiffany gets caught up and up to speed on things, we're ready to connect and work on that. And every year we've said, we're ready to do it, but there's been that turnover. I think that's probably what slowed it down for the township side. We're ready to help the township when the township gets to that particular project. So again, to Tiffany's defense, it's complex, and I'm sure it's not on the top of the list. You've got some major topics, and this is in there, but it's the smaller amount. So when she's ready and when the township's ready, we can partner up and figure out how to use that money appropriately. So, but just a few things need to get done before. Good question.
Thank you. And thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
Any additional questions on the police fund and drug forfeitures? Okay, moving forward, fire fund. I don't know if Kyle is here this evening.
He's not here.
No, it's not.
Okay.
He did have a report that's on the table. If anyone has any questions about the report, I can try to answer them for you.
I do recall, Tony, last year, there was conversation on the fire truck.
Yes.
We were going to, if I recall, trade 2 pieces of equipment in for one. Has that occurred?
It has not occurred yet. No.
Okay. Do we know when to anticipate delivery of the new unit?
We're hoping for 29,
Okay.
but they are about a 3-year build at this point. And they've also gone from, we were going to 2 truck, from a ladder truck and a pumper down to just 1 ladder truck was our hope. And we were hoping to do that for about 1.2 million. This was last year's numbers. Now they're already up to 1.5 to 2 million now. So if we could lock in this year at like a 1.5 million, we might still lock in later this summer or fall. And then the build out will still take till 29. But there are some companies that you can pay today's price, even if you're not gonna take delivery for 2 years, so.
So what you're saying is that, well, first of all, is that expense to be found in the fire fund or is that part of the capital plan?
Capital, yeah.
Okay, then I'll hold that question until we get to that fund. Any other questions on the fire fund? Okay, moving along to the Firefighters Relief Association Fund. Any questions or comments there? So go ahead and we'll skip now to the Capital Improvements Fund.
Ma'am, I do have a thing on there.
Yep, we can go back.
There's something for, guy puts a lot of time in the fire department, is something about a disability benefit.
Tony, do you have an answer to that?
As far as like a retirement benefit, you mean?
Not retirement, disability, because of heat and stuff, they're more acceptable to like, prostate cancer, there's stuff like that.
So Minfire has a program that provides insurance and so forth for things like that. And then we also have, for firefighters in Minnesota, where we pay premiums to. But that's more for short-term injuries, so if we sustain anything.
You're more educated in this than I am.
So if we sustain any injuries, they cover our lost wages for our day jobs and so forth. So
Plus
for
we're
that,
covered under workman's comp. But I think, are you talking about like after we retire?
Yeah.
I don't know if there is anything.
I think
after.
Minfire has,
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think Minfire has something.
Just kind of something to check into, you know.
Great questions. I did just notice before we hop over to capital improvements, there's $152.34 variance. Do you know what that speaks to?
And which one?
On the top of page 5, underneath the 24 comparison column, next to the fire
Oh.
fund balance.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a note left from Beth and I don't know what that is in reference to. So I left it there
Okay,
as a note, but I don't know if that was something that was caught in the audit or what that is.
okay. Sounds good. For those of you that did not attend last year, from my recollection, Beth was putting some of those variances in there when she was trying to move pots. Is it possible that you could look into that and add that to the clarifications that we discussed earlier?
I can see if I can find what that is. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, moving along to the capital improvements fund. I'd like to start, and Tony, we were discussing the fire truck. Can you show me where in the capital improvement fund where the fire truck lies, and has those funds been like encumbered on a purchase order of some kind, or what is the town board's current position on that particular unit?
So if you look at the capital improvements plan, I think the first payment. Starts in 12/20/28. Fire engine ladder truck payment.
Was that different than the fire tanker?
Yeah.
So we have 2 payments going then?
Yeah, there's one payment right now for fire truck. And you'll see that through all the years coming all the way back as far as this goes to 2023.
I apologize, I'm struggling to see it myself. Which,
It's on the actual capital improvement plan.
yeah, I'm just
Not
trying.
in,
No, it's on, hey, different packet.
That'll do her. Thank you, Nathan.
So can we really afford a $1.2 million truck?
We required to have a ladder truck?
No, we're not.
How many times have we used a ladder truck in the past 5 years? Just curious. I have no idea.
Now, on an actual fire,
Yeah.
more than once. How often have we used it? We've used it a lot because it is our heavy rescue truck too. So it finds itself on the freeway a lot of times with all of our rescue tools and blocking traffic as we're doing extrication and whatnot.
It would be really valuable if you could give us those statistics.
I have a follow-up question to the funding source. Has the township looked into grant funding or any other funding source? I know Nathan, you mentioned like you've gone down to the state lobbying days in an attempt to get more capital improvement funds from the state. Has anything like that been done to cover the cost of some of these capital improvement projects, including the truck?
Yes, we've applied for FEMA grants for as long as I can remember, and we've never gotten one for apparatus. It's actually kind of rare to get a grant for apparatus. You can get a lot of grants for tools and other things, but we've had trouble securing grants for apparatus.
I would add too that I don't believe that the state would commit bonding funds to a vehicle purchase. So what I've been going down and lobbying for has been a water and sewer infrastructure capital improvements. So
what happens to the trucks that we're replacing? Did they just go to a boneyard and they're useless or valueless? Or what happens to those?
Actually, a lot of our trucks end up going to the road crew after they're 30 years old. Then we give them to the road crew and say, here, get a few more years out of them.
The tender. So the last tender, so you'll see the fire payments.
Our last tanker truck went to the road crew. Our last rescue truck went to the road crew. As far as engines, once they're 30 years old, they pretty much have no value to them. You can sell them, but it's not like another township's gonna buy it because they're not NFPA approved anymore.
So we're replacing 30-year-old trucks is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, oh, wow.
Yeah. We always get 30 years on our truck.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The other point I'm curious to know is, I've been made aware that Esko's fire department also responds to calls outside of Esko, like maybe you're going to Carlton or Moose Lake. So I'm curious to know if you receive reimbursement of expenses for such calls and exactly like, can you maybe outline how that process works?
We have a mutual aid agreement, automatic mutual aid agreement with Carlton and Renshaw. We don't go as far as Moose Lake. It's just the three of us, and any confirmed fire, we will respond automatically, and they'll do the same thing, respond to us automatically. As far as numbers, I can't give you exact numbers, but I can tell you it's not very many because fire departments don't respond to as many fires anymore as they used to. It's more medical and accidents and rescues and that type of stuff. So the actual structure fires, yeah, there's maybe 2 or 3 a year. Between all three of our departments, maybe half a dozen in a year. It's not really anything wouldn't even really be worth to try to track and say, okay, well, you owe us $1,000, we owe you $1,500. It's a mutual aid agreement, and we just are all in on it. So.
Thank you for that. This is kind of a lengthy document for the 8-year capital improvement plan. And Tiffany, I know you're new, so I'm sure you haven't had a whole lot of time. Are there any board members presenting as citizens today that would like to walk the public through this plan before we move on to the recreation fund?
I just have one more question on the fire truck thing.
Oh, yeah.
So when do we have this 1.2 or $1.5 million vehicle paid off? I mean, I'm not disputing the need, I'm disputing the cost and if we can really afford, if this township really can afford the taxes to pay for a truck. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, we all have to live within our means and maybe I'm just throwing that out there that it's a huge expense. And just because your truck is 30 years old, just like us, just because we're 100 years old, we still function, we still go. We may not be the biggest and the brightest on the block, but we still can keep going. And is there anything mechanically wrong with that truck other than it's just old?
Well,
I'm just asking, I'm
yeah,
not,
our ladder truck we acquired from Duluth for a song. And it was, we put quite a few $1,000s every year into it. Granted, it's way less than $1.5 million. But it is wore out. It's way over 100,000 miles. Its purpose has been served. But yeah, for our ISO rating, you have to have all your trucks, everything has to be at a certain year. So that's why we typically get rid of trucks when they get to that year, even though they might still be good. I've seen some wonderful trucks drive away that
which would drive,
yeah,
right?
that I liked a lot,
Yeah.
you know?
Would you say that it's comparable to like a state mandate, Tony? Is that kind of what you're insinuating is when a fire truck gets to a certain
federal.
edge of life? Okay, the federal statute requires this change of equipment?
Right.
So you're stating that it's not necessarily a want, like we can eke it by for 40 years, like the feds say a hard change at a certain point
To
of
get
the
your
life.
ISO rating, if you don't have equipment that's up to date or doesn't fall into the right category for your ISO rating, then your ISO rating changes and then everybody's insurance goes up.
In the whole township.
That's fun.
How much?
It's still probably cheaper than,
That might be cheaper to pay a higher insurance rate, you're correct. But when you have somebody that's in a house that's on fire, it's good to have equipment that's gonna get there, make it there and put the fire out too.
Double-edged sword for sure.
Well, when you do the math, and there's always devil in details, it's $50,000 a year. If it's 1.5 million over 30 years, it's costing the township 50 grand a year.
Part of your investigation on the new truck obviously looks at the availability of used trucks in good service and condition.
Yes.
And when you come back to the township, you're gonna have a couple options.
Yeah, the last used one that Kyle looked at, I just talked to Kyle today, and he had seen a used truck that he thought was, would fit the bill. It was 4 years old, it had 40,000 miles on it, and it was 1.2 million. So I told him, why wouldn't we pay 1.5 and just get a new one?
I'm also assuming that the new one comes with extended warranties and so forth,
Warranty.
which
Why are they getting rid of it at 40,000 miles? Because maybe Thomson Township will buy it and get it off our hands, you know? But, yeah, so you gotta be careful. But yes, we are looking at a lot of used ones.
I think what you're hearing, however, is that if you come to the table with one really expensive truck, you're gonna meet resistance.
But it, like, you know, the whole idea, that Kyle and I had was that we are going from 2 trucks to 1. So at least 1.5 million is a lot better than if we were buying a ladder truck and a pumper, because now pumpers, our last pumper was 380,000. Now pumpers are $1 million. So if we were buying 2 trucks, we'd be looking at $2.5 million right now. Instead of 1.5. I don't even know how we'd ever afford 2 trucks. Thank goodness we don't have to have 2 trucks, but we do have to have 1 if we're gonna keep our ISO rating.
thank you. Deb, did you have any other questions on that?
well, just I just did a little bit of research here quick on the ISO rating. So 50% is the fire department, 40% is their water supply. So do you have adequate hydrants and all those, and those factor of 1 to 10 give you what your insurance rating is. It's just not the fire department.
Right.
Yeah, we have a dozen fire hydrants. Sure. All right, 39. For a 6 mile by 6 mile township.
Any other questions? Okay. So going back to my question, is there any board members here presenting as citizens that would be willing and able to kind of outline the 8-year capital improvement plan? And Tony, you kind of alluded that we might be looking at levy hikes in the future. So how the town board is trying to prepare and brace for these capital improvements that are needed, while trying to be mindful of property tax levy.
Yeah, I guess, if you look at the capital plan, this one starts at 2023. But you can just kind of go year by year and you can see what each payment is and the description of what it's for. And basically, this is our guide as to where the next piece of equipment will fit into the capital plan. So as you can see right now, if you look up to 2026, the balance, which would be the far right, is typically always positive. Even when we plan into 2027, we're still mostly in the positive. 2028, things start to look better, so we must have had something drop off there.
If I'm interpreting it correctly, is it the certificate of indebtedness payment?
Yes, there you go. So then that's why, like in 28, we added in the fire ladder truck payment at the end of 28.
Can you explain what it means by transfer from general fund? Is that like our savings account in layman's terms?
Yeah, I don't know, Tiffany, can you explain? Basically, when you get to the end of the year, I guess, and the capital improvement plans at negative 30,000, then we do a transfer. Yes, from the general fund, if the general fund has some money there to do it. Otherwise, no, it would have to come from savings to zero out the plan.
So the general fund, is that like general operations, to be clear? Like, I just want to make sure I understand what fund this stuff is all coming from. Because last year Beth was speaking to, when we were looking at the 11.29 increase for this year's property taxes, she was talking about how if we don't start filling our reserves, we're going to be hurting. So I'm just trying to understand, based on her guidance at last year's annual meeting, how that applies in this plan today, as well as when we're looking at the proposed 5% levy. I'm trying to clarify what the general fund is versus the reserves and how that plays into the capital improvement.
We'd have to see if Tiffany can explain it.
I haven't had a chance to really dig into how this all plays out. I was gonna work with the auditors when we get to that and kind of have them work through with me, like what they did last year and how that all fits together. So I haven't looked into that yet.
Sure. And again, thank you for joining us this evening in a very new position. We appreciate you and we welcome you.
Thank you.
There's a question in the back.
Yes.
Ole Larson, so I'm trying to get my head around this. We pass a levy for a certain amount of money to fund our township for the year. So it's a set amount. At the end of the year, if we've spent more than that levy, then we just go into the general fund or any fund that has extra money and grab that money, pay our bills. So I guess the question is a surplus at the end of the year, does that roll over and that just is free money for the next year along with the levied amount? Or if they dig into that surplus, some of it, they have to get approval from the township?
If there's anything left, it would stay in the same fund. It would carry forward in that same fund. So like when Logan was talking about they buy the culverts every 2 years, but they budget the same every year. It's so they can carry that forward and spend it the next year. But it's supposed to stay in the same fund when it if there's anything left, it carries forward and stays in the same fund.
But, okay, so then if we have a great year and we go under budget, that just goes into the next year. We increase our levy 3% or whatever, and that's just extra to spend? Because we had a good year and we didn't use up all our money?
Well, I mean, then it would help to maybe not have to increase the levy as high if you somehow had that extra money, because that would factor in. Because those balances carry forward and those are factored. So like when you look at this sheet, it shows the starting balance and it factors that into the budget, the starting balances.
If I'm following your question, I think you're trying to understand that if there's extra funds left over, do we truly need to propose an additional levy for the next annual meeting? Is that what you're asking?
Well, that's a piece of it, Chris, but there's another piece of it there too. We continually carry somewhere between 1.4 and 1.7 million in the surplus at the end of the year. And I know that we have to hang on to a certain amount of that because we don't get our first payment from the county until, I don't know, June or July or something like that there, which would be about half a levy, say 900,000 to $1 million, which leaves a nice chunk of change that's sitting between 3 certificates of deposit and excesses in accounts. Now, the monies are not earmarked for anything in particular, they're just in an account. And so it keeps seeming to grow a little bit all the time. And it feels like it's kind of a slush fund.
Those they are in the, like, I think most of it's in the general fund. But I mean, those are factored in to those ending balances.
Yes, I would think that, as long as your surplus is enough to carry you over, pay all your bills like $1 million, and maybe those extra funds could be earmarked for something like our financial accounting packages or some of these other things.
So what you're saying is, Ole, is as a constituent, you would like to see that if there's a leftover funds in a budget, that potentially if you don't need it in that particular budget for the next year, it's reallocated to another purpose to avoid additional levy. Is that what I'm hearing? So it's like, you're okay that they have the money and you can go ahead and appropriate it towards another capital improvement project per se, but you'd like to see the tax levy not increase by a percentage on an annual basis if there's money available in a different account.
I think that's sensible.
The reason why you set a budget, but you have a piggy bank to pull from is that you have oh crap moments.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have an oh crap moment and your budget doesn't have anything in it, you have to go to the general fund to ask for forgiveness. Like, this is why that's why each department wants to have a budget with a positive balance. So if like the fire department did a good job this year underspending, well, that's great. They get a bonus for next year so that if they do run into all the wheels fall off the fire truck, they get to pay for them without coming back to the board saying, hey, I need $50,000 for all my wheels that fall off and I got to pull it from the general fund. So we don't want to reallocate positive balances out of individual buckets to be used somewhere else for those oh crap moments. Does that make sense?
A little bit. Because I would say if I put $1 million in in the fund and say, here's my old crap money. Along with what I gotta pay for my bills, and there's still extra money left over. All I'm saying is, I think it should be, at some point, the excess should be earmarked instead of just left.
The board can, work towards a budget that they would like to sit on, right? And they can establish $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, right? They can then recommend the levy to make sure that that bucket remains whole. Now, if you don't like the decisions of the board,
We don't have much choice there.
well, you do, you elect them.
Right.
They work for you. Encourage them to make better decisions or encourage somebody else to run for the board.
Well, I have seen large amounts of money be transferred between accounts. Okay, so on one hand, we're saying any excess should remain in the account it was. But yet I've also seen at the end of the year where we've moved massive amounts of money to other accounts.
So are you asking for more transparency?
Well, I'd love that.
But on the financial statement, you're asking for more transparency on those funds transfers? Is that what you're asking?
Transparency goes back to a better financial package so that Tiffany can actually put out a decent report so that we can actually see where the township stands at any given time.
So let's segue that point to the line item for the accounting software. If I recall you earlier, you said you just haven't gotten to that point yet, but it is on your task list.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
The one point of clarification I also would like to make, and I believe everyone sees where the certificate of indebtedness has been removed over several lines. Can't remember what board meeting it was or what annual meeting, but it was voted on to pay off their certificate. So it was already in the plan. And so the citizens wanted to pay off that certificate. So instead of removing it, it showed it paid off. So that's why you'll see it several times. It was already planned for those payments.
Thank you for that clarification.
So in doing that, that did also take money out of the emergency fund, the coffer, if you will. So, but rather than removing that line item, it remained there, but it's zero because it was paid.
It was longer than to save money. 407,000, wasn't it?
Again, the argument can be raised, what do you gaining on interest, keeping it in whatever account versus paying off? I don't know what the interest was on the certificate versus what we were gaining on the account, so I don't know. I wasn't on the board at that time. But it's that question, and that I don't know, but I just wanted to point out that that's why you'll see that it says removed several times, is because that was budgeted but was paid up.
So Wayne, in your emergency fund, this money we have sitting there, is it making some pretty good interest right now?
No.
The money that's in the CDs is, I don't remember what the percent is.
Yes.
But I think there's 400,000 in CDs that is getting a decent interest rate.
It's decent.
300,000.
6%, I don't know what the percent is, but.
Is it something that you could add to that clarification list?
Sure.
I mean, just in savings accounts right now, they're battling over it. 3.5%, 4%,
It's not kept in a general checking account, so it is.
Yeah, it is
growing at a competitive interest rate, whatever it is, unsure.
Any other questions on the capital improvements fund and the capital improvement plan? Yes, can you state your name for the record?
Kelly Hansen, what are the 20 CA payments?
I can answer that. So when I was the road supervisor, when we purchased our new grader, I secured a 0% loan for half of the price of the grader funded by the MPCA payable over it. It was a 10-year note. So 0%, they were willing to pay for half the grade. So that's why you'll see some payments to the MPCA. There's 2 payments a year, and then you'll see another payment to for John Deere or McCoy. That's for the other half of the grade.
Go ahead. I have one more question. What is the $44,000 public works building piece? Only in December of 2026.
That for engineering, or was that just?
That should be for the, engineering, the planning of the new public works building.
So the design phase of the project?
Correct.
Briefly on that one, do we have an anticipated groundbreaking date on that facility, and do we have bids for that?
We haven't finalized the plan yet even.
Okay.
It's getting close, but
And where we design it, why isn't it just kind of a whole building?
That I can speak to from a public procurement perspective. So by statute, when it comes to government buildings, there's a completely different class of building code and snow loads and so forth with the roofs. And so it seems straightforward, right? Where you could go down to Menards and buy a whole building and call it a day. But unfortunately, with all the statutory code requirements, it's not like. So legally, you do have to go out and you have to hire a licensed designer to come up with the plan. It has to meet certain specification of code. And then by law, you have to turn around and publicly solicit to have that building bid out, or you can do a request for proposal. The request for proposal process compared to a request for bids process is with request for proposal, everyone can go ahead and submit what they would like to say the project plan would look like, what those costs are, and so forth. And you can evaluate for quality, you can evaluate for price, you can negotiate price, and you can interview. But with requests for bids, it's the lowest bid wins. So it doesn't matter like what the quality of the contractor is per se, like you can't evaluate it. It's strictly on price.
And we haven't sent that out for bid yet.
No.
Okay.
It's still being designed.
Yeah. So typically in a government construction project, you'll see that there's an architect engineer phase, which is also affectionately called A&E, and then it eventually will roll into the construction phase. There's multiple ways that you can do that. The process I'm familiar with, it's construction manager at risk. So you can go and you can select a contractor and you set up a contract with them. And then you can go ahead and you can do the bidding projects for each component of the construction project, and then they handle that part of the contract. But the organization as a whole, they say, here's the, you go over it, like you have to eat the difference. Yeah.
Hopefully they put good word in there that like Proctor did not have the right to reject any and all bids.
It is a magical phrase, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is a very important phrase.
Get all involved and they forget. They don't do it intentionally, but it cost them dear.
Yep. Yep, that you can reject non-responsive responders. Yes. Any other questions on that one? Okay, moving forward, recreation fund. And if I recall, this is separate from the park itself.
yes, this is a joint sports and recreation fund. We give a small stipend to our local groups like the baseball association, softball association, hockey association, soccer. Country drive, community ed, it's all, well, mostly for the kids, but it's all for community involvement and recreation. We haven't had the increase there in years, and I'm not asking for one now. Stays the same.
Any questions, concerns with the recreation fund? Seeing none, we'll skip to park and tree fund. And this is specific to Northridge Park, if I recall.
Yes. Nathan, this is you.
It looks like there's a decrease between 25 and 26.
Some upgrades.
Or did I look at that incorrectly?
Yeah, I remember going through for the 26 budget and we just noticed some line items that we had budgeted for and ended up spending less, and so we made reductions there.
Okay, thank you. There's no further questions or concerns on the park and tree fund. We'll skip now to the sewer general fund. Tiffany, there's a note here that shows 45,708.13 to be reallocated. Is that a note from Beth from last year?
Yeah, that was a note from last year, and I think that was just because it was applied incorrectly, so it just needed to be reallocated due to being applied to the wrong fund.
Any questions, concerns about the sewer general fund?
I have a question. What is the sewer rehabilitation fund? What is that? For sewer rehabilitation project, 60,000.
On page 8, is that what you're speaking
Yep,
to?
I'm on page 8.
Or 60,000?
So that's sewer lining, if you have, take for example, the instance out on Highway 61 and Kenosha Thomson Road a couple of years ago, where the sewer collapsed. That whole area got dug up,
Alright.
and we could cover that, but a lot of it is we televise, we clean and televise sewer main, and then in that televising, it outlines repairs that need to be done. Sometimes those repairs can be done by lining. Sometimes those repairs will require pipe bursting, full excavation and replacement, just.
It's the general sewer work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just curious.
Any additional questions? Okay, moving to the sewer contingency. Oh, did I hear someone?
Yeah, sorry, Megan. So again, so this fund is the maintenance. Town crew use this fund. We have software and internet in this fund too. There's a different group of people that use this internet.
Yeah, I mean, this is for the maintenance of the sewer line, but also like the sewer billing comes out of this and stuff. So like the sewer billing software and stuff like that is in this fund too.
Any other questions for the sewer general fund? Seeing none, moving to the sewer contingency fund. It looks pretty empty. We feel confident with it being empty, Tiffany?
I mean, I don't know what that fund was used for previously, so it
fair
was empty last year and I left it that way.
Okay, and that's fair. Thank you. Again, I know you're new to the position, so sorry to put you on the spot. Go ahead.
Since you're talking about sewers, they're not metered out, are they?
They're not.
Are they gonna do that? So there's one person living in a house. And you got 5 people living in this house and they're both paying the same thing.
So we had explored into metering commercial. That is something that's still in the works. As for residential, I think the cost of the meters would far exceed the slight variances. I mean,
Gotcha.
it can kind of be estimated based on bedrooms and so forth of flow, and one house to the other doesn't really vary a whole lot, but when it comes to commercial, there's a
Oh.
lot of variance
Gotcha.
in that. So I'm not quite sure where we stand on it. Maybe Tony can speak to it, but I know talking with our engineer, we're gonna start looking at options for metering for the commercial areas, so
yeah.
at least they get more fair billing, and that fairness goes both ways for us as well as.
I know in metering, I can tell you if the toilets leak.
And where it's tricky, I mean, most municipalities base their billing off water usage, but
Yep.
since we don't offer potable
Right,
water,
well,
we don't have metering in that sense, so
Yeah.
meter just the sewer.
Understand.
Great question. Thank you. All right. We're finally to the last page, folks. Glad you're still awake. Last page is the summary of all funds, reconciliation of bank deposits and bonded indebtedness. Any questions on page 9 of the 2025 annual statement? Seeing none, I am calling for approval of the 2025 annual statement. Can I get a motion to approve? For the sweet boy falls asleep in the seat.
So
So a motion to approve by Mark Nyholm. Can I get a second?
Thank you.
Wayne Kaywood. Okay. I need a call of hands, so all those in favor say aye. And we keep your hands up, because I have to count.
Check your ID.
I got 32.
I got 31.
Okay,
Well,
We're at 32 sounds
Okay.
good. I think I'm.
okay.
Years.
So we'll just go with 31.
Yep.
Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, no opposed. Motion passes. All right, next, we'll move on to other business and we'll go with the fire department report.
Like I said, Kyle left the report. If anyone has any questions on it, I'll try to answer.
I don't recall if we're supposed to approve. Those are, okay. Next, we have the law enforcement report. Come on up, friend. Yeah, I don't know if the mic works. Yeah,
Well, good evening. I promise I will be concise. But if you have questions at any point, please stop me. We could, we could cover that. If you had a chance, I should introduce myself. My name is Dan Danielson. I'm the chief deputy or under sheriff here in Carleton County, so I'm Kelly's number 2. In the back is your assigned deputy, Casey Rehnquist. And if I have a right case, you've been here as the township assigned deputy since 22. So
Yeah, my third year.
yeah, full year, right? I think we started at the end of 22 and
And then in October.
something like that. So Casey, for the sake of the conversation and the presentation, Casey's your guy. He's who's been assigned here and hopefully you've got to meet him over the years, for good reasons, obviously. But if when you call us, Casey's generally the person that's on duty and assigned to the township and who you'll probably get a response from. Of course, Casey's only one guy. So if it's after hours or when he's not working, but Casey does work varied hours and weekends and such, so there's a good chance that you'll get Casey when you call. But when he's not there, the rest of our sheriff's office is available in response. So in the handout, I'll just point to the front page, just some fun facts, I guess, more or less, or some data and information. You'll see the call volume for 25 was pretty consistent with 24. But you'll see it's slightly less than it was in 23 and 22. This is an anecdotal guess on my part, but our office as a whole is down 6 deputies today. We're in the process of, we have some candidates in the works, but we're down a few. So I think when you see, hopefully by this time, maybe not next year, because we don't have those bodies in squads today, but certainly 27 or so, you'll see those contacts raised a little bit, but it's consistent. It's a lot of 911 calls that we answer. You'll see a small data point at the bottom of that page that kind of breaks down the monthly call volume and whatnot. The long story short, it's consistent with years past. Just a brief kind of rundown for those that might not know how our agreement works. We've been partners with the township for about 11 years. The township decided around 2015 to move away from having their own police department and realize some savings in that respect, some liability, which is probably a bigger conversation, and ultimately contract with the sheriff's office. So we've been your primary law enforcement agency since around 2015. Tiffany talked a little bit about the agreement. How we work is we have a 3-year contract that we're we were at the end of a 3-year contract last year, and we negotiated with the board for a 1-year contract to cover 2026. Payment wise, you pay us twice a year, middle of the year and end of the year. And, that's kind of how the agreement rolls. Regarding the agreement, again, the township and the sheriff's office agreed to a 1-year for 2026, with a 1.37% increase. Where that number comes from, that's the number, or ultimately what we did is we agreed to ask the township for the same annual amount that we ask the city of Moose Lake for. If you've been paying or watching the news and whatnot, we have an agreement with the city of Moose Lake. And we felt it was responsible as the sheriff's office to ask the township for the same amount that we're asking the city. We didn't want to come to you for more than what we're obligated there. So that's how we landed on that number for this particular year's agreement. We do intend to reach back out to the board in the near future and talk about a longer term agreement again. But it's something that's in the works. Just a little bit of what we do, I guess, just to wrap things up, maybe. For lack of a better term, Casey does spend a lot of time in the schools. You don't have a traditional school resource officer, but Casey is present there quite a bit, making relationships with the students and the staff and the community there. So often you'll see him if you're picking up and dropping off, as well as some of our bigger community events. If it's National Night Out, Esko Fun Days, the garage sales, those kind of things, you'll see Casey. If Casey's not available, those are days that are built into our contract that we make sure that we're present for. So you will always have kind of a personal touch in the township because that's what you pay for. We're always thankful for the partnership as well. Ultimately, that's kind of the last year in a nutshell. And we talked a little bit about the forfeiture question that comes up from time to time. So hopefully we can get that resolved in the near future. But if anybody has any questions for me, happy to take those now. And if you either don't want to ask me now or whatever, I'm going to hang around. Casey might hang around if he's got time. My card is up on the table. Please grab those. You can call me, email me, text me about whatever, and we'll get back to you. I'll get back to you specifically. So happy to take any questions now if you want. Otherwise, like I said, I'll be around afterwards.
Just a
Yeah,
comment for one of our audience attendees. Cole, I saw you give a thumbs up to approve of him. Okay, I think we can keep him.
appreciate you both. Thank you. All right. Well, if you don't have any questions, again, I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be around afterwards. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Zoning and ordinance enforcement report.
There was a printout on the table, but we don't have somebody here to give a report.
So if people have questions on that, they can contact your office. Okay, so we'll just do that and we'll move on. Recreation fund.
I think that is there, if anybody wanted to suggest any changes for the amounts in that annual statement that go to the different recreation funds, like the Esko Fun Days and all that stuff that Tony touched on earlier. The proposed is to keep it the same.
All right, and the fun line item of the evening is the approval of the tax levy for 2027. If I recall, it is a proposed 5% increase.
Yep.
Can you highlight how that number was selected?
Yeah, we just went kind of this year with general cost increases, general inflationary increases, and then also trying to keep funds in the capital improvement plan so we can keep working towards those future goals.
Before we do a vote on that, there's a couple points, and understanding you're new to your position, I understand if you can't fully answer my questions this evening. There was a couple advisory motions that were asked of the board last year. And part of it was, and we touched on it, was seeking a contract to try to curb the spending with the attorney fees. Another one was concerned with the amount of turnover within the township, and so providing employee support through a human resource consultant option. So there was a median in between township staff and the board. And also, the biggest concern that I believe through various questions that were asked this evening was ways that the township can demonstrate that they're trying to save on costs rather than continually increasing our levy year after year. Understandable that there are inflationary costs, but demonstrating ways that the township is trying not to balance the budget off the backs of the constituents. And so before we take a vote on this 5%, I was curious to know if you could speak to any of that.
Well, the attorney fees, we did put the RFP out, so I mean, hopefully we'll see what happens with that. It's hard to say at this time because we haven't talked to any of them yet. But it's something that we are working on. We did put an RFP out for HR consultant options, and we didn't get any response back, so that's something we're gonna try again, but so far we didn't get any response on that. And as far as saving on costs, you know, I think that 5% is a pretty low increase, especially like trying to catch up on some of those capital improvement funds and stuff. So I think 5% is keeping it pretty reasonable. And we did cut back on like the financial services. And hopefully with me being here, you know, we will be able to keep that low, and we've tried to cut where we can. I know like Leah was cutting some stuff with some of there was like some unused phone lines, like we were paying for too many phone lines, we cut those. So there's various things like that that we've been trying to look into, like where we can cut, and it's been something we've been working on.
Appreciate that. Any additional questions? Yep, go ahead.
Just a clarification question, then I'm gonna have a follow-up. Under road and bridge fund wages, who comprises that wage category?
I think that is just the Public Works Department.
So are you asking how many employees?
I don't necessarily need to count. Is it just our public, or sorry, our guys working outside?
The guys working outside, but some of them, their wages are split between. We have one gentleman that does a lot of work with sewer work, so part of his wages are gonna be paid for out of the sewer fund. And then, you know, the road supervisor, they get paid out of the road bridge fund, and sewer fund, because they oversee all of them.
Sure. Okay, so here's my follow-up question. This is why I'm asking. Thank you for the clarification. So we're okay with leaving all of those working folks' salaries unchanged from this calendar year to next, But we are allowing our office staff to take a salary increase.
I
And
think
our
it-
engineering and legal services can take a 6.5% increase.
No,
Our-
the road crew definitely got, they're unionized. They did get increases. I think it just didn't transfer that way because of,
Could I add? that?
yeah, of course.
We're under a 3-year contract to our union, so we already set those increases for 3 years. So we have 2 years to go yet on our contract,
Understood, thank you.
and then we'll renegotiate.
So that answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before we bring the levy to a vote? Okay, that said, we are seeking approval of the proposed tax levy for 2027. Is there a motion to approve the proposed 5% tax levy for 2027? Is there a motion to approve the proposed tax levy of 5% for 2027?
I make a motion, we accept tax levy for 5%.
Motion by Mr. Bonneville. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Holly Shampoo. Okay, all those in favor, raise your hands. Okay. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 17. Did you count 17, 18?
I got 21.
Okay, see, this is a short girl problem. Everybody keep your hands up. I'm really sorry. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Got 19.
How did you? I got 22. We can't count
Would you like me
apparently.
to count as well?
Jana, don't put that in your article that I can't count. You've already done me with my soccer mom picture before, so just. Yes, I'm gonna have to do that. Duck, duck, grade up, is that what we're doing here? So. 4, 5. 21.
22.
Are you counting yourselves?
I'm not counting myself in this because I don't think I can vote.
Yeah, you're.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay, so I counted 21, if that's it.
Yeah,
Then-
21.
Okay, so 21. Okay, those opposed. I will walk around so you don't have to hold your arms up this tall. Nine, I have that too. Okay, that said, motion passes. Okay. Righty, and 2 more things, then we get to go home, folks. Is there any motions of advisory that would like to be made tonight? Okay. Final step, a motion to set a time and place for the next annual meeting. The proposed date is Tuesday, March 9th, 2027 at 6:30 PM Central Time at the Thomson Town Hall located at 25 East Harney Road in Esko, Minnesota. Do I have a motion to approve the set time and place for the next annual meeting?
So 6:30 PM here, Tuesday, March 9th.
Do I have a second?
Right here. Adam Carroll.
Adam Carroll. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, all right. We can skip option 9 because we already approved.
We do still recess.
We do?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so then I need a motion to recess the annual meeting to Tuesday, August 18th, 2026 at 6:30 PM. Remind me your name, sir.
Ron Larson.
Ron Larson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Tony Compo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, sounds good. All right, the best part, motion to adjourn the meeting.
We don't adjourn.
Cole, do you want to do that one?
Recess.
We recess.
Yes, we recess, so we're good. See, this is why I need to go to bed too. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, start the car. Start the car. It's a boring.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I've lived in a town for 70 years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I took them, Holly.
Well, to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
I do.
Maybe stir the pot a little.
Right.
Well.
I was everybody up and.
Everybody got to about the school board. Oh, Jerry Fred.